This is a demonstration of setting up a Key Management Service, or KMS, to activate volume builds of Windows within an enterprise environment. In this demonstration, we will see how to implement volume activation for Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2. When we refer to Windows Server 2008, it will mean either edition. Note that these procedures apply to KMS on Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008 as well. To begin, let's look at the infrastructure required for volume activation. We have an administrator who has been issued a Volume License Edition product key. The administrator designates one computer as the Key Management Service, or KMS host. KMS does not require a dedicated system and can be co-hosted with other infrastructure services, such as DNS or Active Directory. The administrator then uses the slmgr command to input the product key into the KMS host server. Once the product key has been installed, the administrator again uses the slmgr command to activate the Key Management Service. During this process, the KMS connects to the Microsoft Activation servers and validates the Volume License Edition product key. Once the KMS has started, it will register service records in DNS. These records are used by volume license builds of Windows to locate an available KMS host and to attempt to activate. Now that the KMS has been activated and the service records are registered in DNS, we can begin to activate volume license builds of Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2. Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 systems built with volume license media are KMS clients by default. They will automatically attempt to locate a KMS by querying DNS for the service records published by the KMS. If it locates a KMS, it attempts to connect to the KMS and activate. A minimum number of KMS clients are required before activation can occur. For Windows 7, the threshold is 25 systems. For Windows Server, a minimum of 5 systems are required. These systems can be physical or virtual, and the count is cumulative between client and server operating systems. Next, let's look at how we can use these tools on Windows Server 2008 R2. As I previously stated, the process for activating a KMS host is unchanged for Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2. I'll be doing this demonstration on a Windows Server 2008 system. Here, I have a Windows Server 2008 computer that I have designated as my KMS host. I have already registered a Volume License Edition product key with the slmgr-ipk command. This product key was a Server Group B key, which allows me to activate all Volume License Editions of Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2, excluding Windows Server 2008 R2 Data Center Editions and Windows Server 2008 R2 for Itanium-based systems. Note that the Server Group B product key will also support activation of Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008 KMS clients. The next step was to activate the KMS. This was done by running the slmgr-ato command. This can also be done over the phone if no internet connection is available. You can verify the activation status by running the slmgr-dlv command. This command displays information such as the activation ID, license status, and a partial product key. It also shows the activation end date. In this demonstration, I'm running this command remotely from my administrator console using the slmgr machine name-dlv command. There is other important information in this output as well. The current count value shows how many KMS clients have attempted to activate, as well as the default port for the KMS and the DNS publishing status. The final area shows the total requests received as well as the total activations. Now, let's switch to a KMS client view for a moment and attempt to activate a Volume License Edition of Windows. It is important to understand that this process is being performed manually for the purpose of this demonstration only. The process of activation is fully automatic once the KMS host has been activated and is publishing service records in DNS. First, I'm going to manually set the value of my KMS using the slmgr-skms command with the name or IP address of the KMS host I want to activate with. This is useful as a troubleshooting step or when DNS is not available. Next, I will run the slmgr-ato command to activate the client. If a KMS client connects before the required number of physical and virtual KMS clients is reached, also known as the activation threshold, the activation attempt will fail, and you will see a message that indicates that the threshold has not yet been reached. The KMS client will try again after a short wait period, and if the KMS host has registered 5 total attempts to activate by 5 unique physical or virtual KMS clients, it will return a KMS count value that allows the KMS client to activate. Finally, we can review the activation status by typing slmgr-dlv from the client. This command shows us several important pieces of information, such as the license status, the activation expiration, as well as the activation interval and renewal interval. The activation interval is how long the computer will wait after a failed activation attempt before attempting to reactivate. The renewal interval is how long the computer will wait with a valid activation before attempting to renew that activation. Back on the server, let's look at the records that are published in the Domain Name Server, or DNS. In the DNS MMC, I'll navigate to the Contoso domain, then to _TCP. The _VLMCS SRV record is for our KMS host, WGP-demo. You can see the port used to communicate with this service, TCP 1688, and the name of the host system for that service record, WGP-demo. We can use the event viewer to verify that the KMS is receiving activation requests. The event viewer contains a log for the key management service. This log records attempts to activate and is useful as a tool to verify that the clients are correctly resolving and connecting to the KMS. Finally, let's look again at the output from the slmgr-dlv command now that we have had some activity against this KMS. Now you can see that the current count is 6, exceeding the minimum threshold for server machines. And you can see the total number of requests which this KMS received, as well as the license status of the requesting clients. In this demonstration, you saw how to implement volume activation on Windows Server 2008 R2. Volume activation is very easy technology to implement and requires very little effort on the part of the system administrator.